Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 16th of April, comes to you from London. And the dollar kicking lower again this morning. Main news over the weekend was the airstrikes in Syria, which the market seems to have taken in its stride, and is not pricing in further action. So we're seeing here that dollar weakness still continuing. We're just ticking lower here. So at the moment, dollar weak. And if we look at the euro, we see that translating to some relative strength of the euro against the dollar. So we're looking short-term bullish there. Against the yen, and this is really probably one of my favorite charts for seeing the dollar relationship. We're seeing the dollar just falling away over the last couple of days. Still not quite bearish on this chart, but at the moment that dollar weakness is showing through. Sterling looking stronger against the dollar, just nudging this 143 mark. So we are seeing new highs for the pound, and against the euro, sterling looking quite strong still, and against the Swiss franc also looking stronger. So sterling across the board, and even against the Aussie dollar, where it was looking weaker last week, it's just ticked up as well. Bitcoin down just some 3% after last week's jump of some 15%. And of course, Bitcoin trades 24/7 across the weekend, and we're seeing here that it has gone just a little bit lower in the last couple of hours, but we are looking bullish in the short term. Still have work to do in that medium term chart to get back into bullish territory, probably back through $9,000. We're sitting at 8,100 at the moment. And we're looking at US stock markets. They were down slightly on Friday, so ending the week on a less good note, but still looking a little bit better in the short term. And we were saying that on Friday morning in charts today that the US markets were recovering. And we're seeing here on the NASDAQ 100 much the same thing. Short term, we're through the cloud. On the Dow Jones also, we actually did close a little bit higher. We're seeing we were a little bit lower on Friday, but we're still looking above the cloud. And looking at the Russell 2000, the broader based index, we're seeing that recovery kicking in there as well. US futures this afternoon, looks like the US market will open higher. The S&P future up 1/4%. The Nasdaq E-mini up about the same, so we are just seeing a slight improvement there in the futures. FTSE 100 is down slightly this morning, so just a little bit mixed. And the FTSE 250 also just up very slightly, so we're seeing just a slight difference there in the indices. The Dax index is also up this morning, and the CAC is also up just slightly. So we're seeing the markets just generally improving, and the Japanese market also holding on there. Chinese stocks were down, Hang Seng was down, and the local market in Shanghai looking quite worrying, selling off there. So Chinese stocks are really underperforming, and the Sensex is actually looking pretty strong. So even though it was down slightly, it's looking pretty strong short term as we recover. And the Aussie market actually starting to recover a little bit short term as well. So looking at crude oil, we're just coming back off this peak of $73. We're sitting at 71.55 this morning, 71.47. So we are just seeing crude coming back a little bit, but still holding that $70 mark. WTI sitting at 66.30, holding that level as well. Looking pretty strong, even though we're just seeing a little bit of a pullback. US nat gas actually had a stronger day on Friday. We jumped there, and we're seeing short-term bullishness, but really just sitting at these sort of 270 area. And looking at Henry Hub, we saw, heating oil we saw there is very similar chart to the crude oil chart. Taking a look at softs, we're looking at coffee lower, cocoa also just looking a little bit better than coffee, and sugar has been probably one of the worst looking softs, just nudging new lows again. Gold is off very slightly this morning, just turned a little bit bearish on Friday as we came through the cloud there. So just really waiting for this breakout of this range. Silver looking a little bit better than gold, but also just is slightly below the cloud there, so just looking a bit lower short term. Uh, US bond yields rallied a little bit on the Syria action, but we're just sitting at this 285 level, so not like a big jump. Again, the market pricing in no further action likely there. Looking at Apple, we were up slightly on Friday, so looking stronger there on the short-term chart. Amazon had a less good day on Friday, but and is still not quite bullish in the short term. Google or Alphabet, as we would call it, also just a weak recovery, and Facebook back into the 160s again, just rising a bit on Friday. So Facebook really have been oversold, and we're just seeing that recovery in the short-term chart. And Microsoft on Friday we pointed out was one of the few tech giants that's really holding its bullish position on all three charts. So looking better than most. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.